Good morning, good evening, depending on where you're at. Hello, Leo. Welcome to your monthly reading. So good to see everybody. I hope that you're doing great, that your New Year's have gotten off to a good start. And today we have some beautiful messages coming through. As always, you can use this for your sun, your rising, and for your moon sign. And sorry, I have the collective up instead of today's. I do that a lot. You can use this for your sun, your rising, and your moon sign, and any aspect of your chart that you happen to be looking at. I have the format listed below here. I always like to begin with channeled messages, the Celtic Cross, and then the big idea, blessings and blocks, viewer's choice, and the meditation at the end. I always have a final word or a final card as well at the very close of the reading. So if there's anything that you really want to know about, stick around until the end and you can ask me that particular question. One of the things that's important for me is to just allow for this to be a fluid discussion. Although I have that format, I like to just kind of show up and be here in the moment. One of the interesting things today as I was tuning into your sign is that I get this feeling of like something right around the corner, like this dress rehearsal that's going to lead to a big sort of spotlight moment. So as we look at the cards here in a few minutes, one of the important things is really making sure that you are ready. And if there's anything that you need to be paying attention to. I see a great question here in the comments just about, can you tune in if it's not in your chart? Absolutely. I'm an intuitive, so basically I will channel the messages for anybody that shows up. It's tailored for Leo, but a lot of the information, especially in the channeled portion here that I'm going to get at, is going to be good for anybody. So again, the very beginning here, channel messages, even the Celtic Cross itself is going to bring stuff that we are all experiencing. Those that have Leo placements, of course, are going to have the strongest sort of affinity or connection to it, but everybody's welcome. I have a lot of folks that will come through for all 12, or well, I do more than that. I almost do 15 to 18 videos per month, but you can show up for everyone. You're always welcome. All right, let me get into the channeled messages. You'll see in my desk here like a bunch of things that I've written this morning as I was getting ready for the reading. Some of the big messages today have to do with the Sphinx, which came to me, a really cool mythological creature. And then I said again, there was sort of this dress rehearsal energy coming through. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about you being able to not limit yourself and kind of like deal with all of the elements. So let's just talk one by one as I kind of go through all of this stuff, beginning with the main totem today, which is the Sphinx. The Sphinx, of course, is something from mythology, half woman, half bird, and I think as well, let's see, half lion, which is why it's appropriate for you, right? It exists in both Greek and in Egyptian mythology. Of course, it stands in front of the pyramids at Giza. Many of us know that Sphinx more than any of them. In mythology, typically it represents a riddle and also this sort of a guardian, if you will, or sort of, for many of us, this gatekeeper, okay? So whenever a gatekeeper symbol comes through, it usually shows that in order for you to get the next thing in your life or get to the next portion of your life, you're going to have to go through somebody that is going to hold an approval, that may be there to ask questions to make sure that they're clear, that you're clear, that everything's okay. It's not always like someone asking you a riddle and not letting you get past. It's usually someone making sure. So I'm getting the sense that many of you have this gatekeeper or this sort of this potential block or delay that's going to just basically be you not overthinking it. Because when we think about many of the riddles that the Sphinxes in mythology would present, they're often deceptively simple. So that you would overthink or that you would miss something right in front of your own eyes. It's kind of interesting that the Sphinx in Egypt is missing part of its nose. So sometimes it's right under your nose, if I just kind of go into the visual here. So I want you to think about not overcomplicating things and make sure that if there are requisite things that need to be done, that you take care of those so that one of these potential Sphinx-like gatekeepers don't pop up, right? So let's talk about some of the bigger things that they could represent. Like I said, they stand guard, so they're protecting things. And there's usually a riddle or a question. Some of you may have a person in your life that is hiding something, right? And you may be the one asking them the questions. And it's often about asking the right questions, not repeating the same questions. So if you are the inquisitor, I think that the thing here to think about is, how can I ask this question a little bit better? What can I do to understand maybe what they're going through? So the question may not be the one that you want answered. It might be, are you okay? Because if someone's acting out of sorts, the reason they're not answering it is because something else is going on. So you have to ask a different question to get the kind of answer or the kind of information that you're looking for, okay? What are you protecting? What are what are others protecting? And like I said, is the answer deceptively easy, or could there be another way of looking at something that you hadn't thought about before? There are themes with this particular totem that involve both knowledge and also secrets, or the controlling of knowledge. That being said, when we're just looking at general knowledge, like how to do something, training someone, things like reading, literature, math, like applied sort of knowledge like that. When you teach someone this, you give them power. It's a tool. So that kind of knowledge is power. Those who don't share that kind of knowledge or power may either be afraid or insecure, because if you have the same skills as they do, are they still important? Of course, we really want everyone to be equally as prepared, strong, and powerful, but sometimes in families, sometimes at work, sometimes in relationships, there's a partner that wants to hold more of the power. So you may be dealing with one of those challenging situations, and it's perplexing you, just like you would be if you were in front of the Sphinx. So take a look at that person and think, is there an underlying insecurity? Is there an underlying fear that I could help relieve or assuage and get out of the way? If you can neutralize that fear, then again, I think you might be able to get the knowledge, the information that you need. But there's something blocking them from kind of giving that to you. Like I said, ask the right questions, empower yourself and others with honesty and with facts. Honesty is the single most liberating thing. For anybody that's had to keep a secret or had to sort of tell a white lie to protect someone, you know that it eats you up, right? And oftentimes a lie, even if it's meant to be something that's taking care of people, it ends up doing more harm than good. So truth, honesty, and basically getting that all out in the open is going to be really important. And I think this can hit every single facet of your life. So like I said, the intimate relationships, the family relationships, business, all of these different areas could benefit from increased transparency, increased sharing or democracy of the knowledge, and making sure that you give people the benefit of the doubt. When you empower them to be the best that they can be, guess what? They are. When you assume that they can't be, you actually bring about that insecurity. This is especially true with children, but it's also true with adults. So if you assume someone is just going to mess up, they tend to not have a lot of faith in themselves, and they think, what have I got to lose anyway? People expect me to mess up. But when we put a little bit of positive pressure on them and say, I really have faith in you. I think you can do this. Let's see what happens here. And I trust that you'll ask me if you need help. All of a sudden, they may be in new territory because someone expects them to do well instead of messing up. So anyway, if you are holding on to a secret, or if you think someone else is keeping a secret, reach out and let them know it's okay to talk. But also reach out and see where they're at. Don't accuse them of lying or holding back or anything. Just try to work on the rapport and try to lead by example, because a lot of times people just don't have the life examples of how to kind of be in that honest energy. All right, moving away from the Sphinx onto the next thing, and this came through in dreams. I saw the energy that looked like a dress rehearsal before like a stage production, and it seemed like you were sleeping in or wanted to skip it. So please don't, because I saw things happening pretty quickly. In fact, it felt like the show was already started. So I feel like the time for dress rehearsal is done, but if there is any additional prep work that you can do all of that prep work that you can. Because when that spotlight moment comes up, it feels like you really have to just sort of like go and move quickly through it, all right? The next thing that I saw on the stage was this sort of negotiation, a kind of dance, which is a reminder that communication and negotiation and anything in life is a dance. Sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow, but you have a partner there. You can't do all the work alone if it is a partner sort of thing. If that's the case, find another partner. If you were trying, you can't pull someone around on the dance floor, right? You can't prop them up. You can't make them move their arms. If you're doing that, by the way, it's kind of tantamount to being a puppeteer, which is sometimes what we'll see on certain devil cards. We don't want to go into that control energy, or at its best application, maybe the Empress reversed. So you want to let someone either show up or kind of like clock out if that's what they're interested in. And if they're not there, you probably could just do this solo. Better to do that than to try to manage up or to try to make someone else do better or do everything. So the message here is you either have a partner or you don't. And if they're not doing their work, tell them you need them or let them go. And this partner word that I'm using can be very kind of like an umbrella term. This can be a friendship where the person's not showing up, a family situation where they're leaving you out in the dark, or a love situation. And that's why I kind of like to use the word partner for love, because you can infer from that both sides are participating. Okay, so for this dance to happen, both need to be dancing. It takes two to tango, right? Otherwise, you're going to be a great solo artist and you'll be fine, but that's kind of the energy. There's a choice to be made. Judgment and justice, actually justice more than judgment. Justice. Are we going to do this? Are we going to stay or are we going to go? I was also shown all four elements: earth, air, water, fire. And it was a reminder here to use all the tools in your wheelhouse, a fancy way of sort of saying, use all of your skills. Paint with all the colors in your palette. Don't feel like you need to kind of hold back in this moment in time, because I do feel like there's going to be an opportunity to surprise yourself, to show other people what's available. And you want to expand, you don't want to limit. And these are your main messages that came through in the channeled portion today. Again, the channeled portion is a chance for you to kind of like connect directly to messages from your guides and from my guides, and I hope you enjoyed that portion. I'm going to move along here now to the Celtic Cross. Usually when I do the Celtic Cross, I like to give you a chance to take a look at some different decks that we could be using. So let me go ahead and stack these cards up. I'm really drawn today to kind of probably just use the Afro Goddess deck, so I may do that, and we'll see how I feel here. But give me one moment to stack all of these cards up. By the way, quick note, if you haven't yet followed me on social media, give me a follow. A lot of times I will post clips from these readings on Instagram, for instance. I might start doing that on TikTok as well. I always do reminders in the story portion, and of course I'll put out tweets the day of the reading so that you don't forget. So those are my social media links. It's my name just about everywhere, and then Ashbaugh on Twitter. And then also a great way to support this channel that's absolutely free, that makes a really big difference, is to hit that thumbs up. I see that we have barely half of the people right now. It'd be great to get a couple more likes. You can only do it once. If you've never subscribed, please consider doing that. It'll help this channel grow. And of course, if you want to give back in the way of a super sticker or super chat, I thank you in advance. And at the very end, I'll actually say your name. So feel free to do that. More information about my schedule can be found on my website as well. All right, so let's get into the Celtic Cross. I really am just going to kind of go towards the Afro Goddess deck because I was called to do that today. So there might be another portion here where I ask for some votes, but we'll probably save that for when I'm asking questions. So give me a second here, and we're going to take a look at the cards and see what's coming through for today. Again, you can use this for your sun, your rising, and your moon sign, and any aspect of your chart that you happen to know. One thing that I'm thinking about actually while I'm doing this with Leo, the fact that the Sphinx came through and kind of shows an amalgamation of different aspects of you. That's why I think I saw all of the elements. It's a reminder that it's really, really important for you to not feel like you have to be put in one particular box, right? So realize that as you're kind of moving through the month ahead, that's going to be a vital piece, is to not just see yourself as one thing. I like that it's kind of on multiple different levels. Very interesting. Ganesha made 2 appearances here. I'll talk about it in a second. All right, so we're going to begin with your Catalyst card here. The Catalyst card today is Acceptance. The card was reversed, so some of you may have not received the kind of acceptance that you've needed. A lot of times this can be a result of parents, friends, or family members just not kind of understanding who you are or why you differ from the norm. They want you to kind of fit in a certain kind of box, and frankly, you're thinking, that's not me. I want to be more like this, or this is where my heart and soul is leading me. I want you to trust what you're being guided to do and what you're being guided to follow. Accepting yourself for all the great stuff and all the flaws as well, and doing the same to other people, I think, is going to be equally as important. So we all have gifts, we all have challenges. The reverse of this is saying basically not to judge, to accept, not to judge. So it's kind of like we got a judgment card thrown in there, but like the limited version of judgment, not the one where you understand and you follow the judgment, but it's where you second guess or you cast judgment. So don't harshly judge yourself. Don't harshly judge someone else. It's not going to help the equation. And again, whenever I have the Catalyst card here, this is basically a way for all of the different cards here to be kind of like set in the right direction. So with Acceptance being the main message, we're going to kind of take each and every card and measure it against the acceptance. Let's go to your center card. We have the 8 of Cups, the 8 of Cups in reverse. So for many of you, you might be getting a second chance to finish something. You might be taking a sabbatical. This is usually an interesting card where you go back and forth a little bit. So with the 8 of Cups, some positive things around this card. Let's say you had a falling out, a breakup, or a separation. This usually leaves the door open for reparation. It's always on the other person's sort of, it's up to them what they want to do with repairing or with apologizing, etc. But there is a chance for things to get better. But for the moment, it looks like you or the other person needs some space, needs some time. We have a Desert in this card, which actually is almost more intuitive than the traditional illustration, because the desert shows that you need some space, and you can't get more sort of vast and kind of isolated than the desert oftentimes. So remember though to come back, remember to check back, and that's what this card is saying eventually. Where are you at now? And you should eventually shut or open the door. The thing that can be kind of frustrating or odd with the 8 of Cups is that if it's left open permanently, it can sometimes make you wonder, like, what's next? Where do I stand? Am I going to be okay? So this particular card here is really encouraging you to figure out, where do I stand? Okay. It's also great for making and breaking a cycle. And in that respect, I think that this frees you up to try something new and think, if I succeed, it could actually really create something exciting in my life, a brand new sort of trajectory. So this card is crossing the center card, and we have the God of Wands, or the King of Wands here, basically. And as many of you know, I love the suit of Wands when it comes to being able to problem solve. So whether it's the Queen or the King, it doesn't matter. I love that we have the Panther on here, just like the Black Cat would be on the Queen card. So this is showing it's important to have quick reactions, to trust yourself. Instinct is going to be a big part of some of your decision making. And again, not to overthink, because the King and the Queen of Wands can occasionally overthink. There is magic with both of these, the King and the Queen. So they are able to take limited options, limited resources, and find bigger applications, bigger ways to make something happen. When we look at these two together, this again being making and breaking cycles, second chances, by the way, you have a second chance here for leadership. So some of you are kind of stepping into this opportunity to maybe get a raise or get recognized, or have somebody see you as, more powerful or more vocal or more interesting or whatever than you used to be. So this is a good sort of movement for you. The question here is, are you ready and willing to take on that mantle? With great power comes great responsibility, okay? So I want you to think about what you want. That's going to be one of the other things that's going to be important, is people have a hard time knowing how to show up unless you let them know how and where to show up, okay? But this is the boss card, and it's the ultimate boss card here. So with the King of Wands crossing this, you have a chance to make some great things happen. You also have a chance to bring about some, I would say, sustainable action too. What does that mean? It means that it's going to keep happening. There's a difference, though, between the Eight of Cups and the Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands being all the wands flying in the air, and then Eight of Cups being that person walking away that we saw at the center. Eight of Wands is predictable. Like, you will see it, you could see many months out what's going on. Your calendar's predictable, the activity's predictable. With the Eight of Cups, it's sporadic, but it's constantly sporadic. So sometimes there's a lot, sometimes there's a little, but there's never nothing. When we're looking at business, this would be the difference between haircuts and dental appointments. Haircuts, you're going to have to go every 6 to 8 weeks, maybe every 4 weeks if you have a short haircut. For dental, might be a couple times a year. You go when you need it. And an even more sporadic example might be a lawyer. You might have one and you might see them 2 or 3 times in a month, and then maybe a whole year goes by when you don't see it. So that's Eight of Cups. Eight of Wands is every month, clockwork, basically. So if you're trying to manage a business or manage something and make it more like clockwork, which this is not, then you have to give people a reason to come back. So this is especially for my entrepreneurs out there. You have to find a way to kind of like market and create maybe more of a habit in your own life. So for creators, for instance, you have to have a schedule, which is something that I do. So let people know that you're doing stuff and show up when you say you're going to show up. And that's going to be really important. That's why I got that sort of picture of the dress rehearsal. If you don't show up for the dress rehearsal, you're not going to be ready for show day. And if you show up for show day, they might actually have the understudy stepping into your role. So prepare and step up. All right, justice. As we were talking about, making some decisions, really important here. Doing what's right as well. Justice is she shedding a tear here? I got to put my glasses on. It looks like she is. Yeah, she is. So she's shedding a tear in this particular illustration. And this is the gatekeeper that I was talking about a little bit. We see that lovely path in the background, but she's right there saying, is this right? Have you done everything that you need to do? Are you ready? Do you know and trust yourself? And it could also be like legitimately a legal sort of checkpoint that some of you have to do. Okay. So for those of you that are starting something new, I saw we have like an entrepreneur in the room here. Definitely make sure that you're talking to your lawyer. Everyone else, I think it's a good time of year here at the beginning to sort out all of the financials and all of that stuff to just make sure that everything feels like it's in the right place at the right time. Okay. So interesting justice card there that we just saw. And the other thing with this, by the way, she's in the deep past here. So when we're looking at it, she's right here in the deep past. The important thing for you to think about is, if I've already made my decision, what am I going to do about it? So it feels like the decision for many of you has been made, but we have, for some of you, fatigue, for some of you, impatience. For some of you, you just haven't had enough or made enough time to get it done. So I would love for you today or this week or whenever you watch this shortly thereafter, I should say, to set some time for this to happen, this next goal, whatever you want to begin in 2022. I have to remind myself we're actually in 2022. Doesn't it seem like a blur between 2020 and 2022? It feels like it's all been mushed together. But this is the time, this month, this week, I want you to think about doing something really, really key to bringing your next goal into fruition. I think we all have at least one goal. It's the new year, right? So do something so that by the time February comes around, you are hitting the ground running and making some fantastic progress on that. If you're so tired that you can't take a break, this card is a warning that if you don't take a break sooner than later, you will get that sense of just lack of focus. You might get cranky. You might say something that you don't mean to. I recently had that happen to me with someone that I care about, and they just barked at me, and it's very odd when that happens. So you don't want to get yourself in that position, because 10 of Swords, which can happen when you have that moment of barking, you can't put what's said back in the box. There's a reason, by the way, we've got the 10 of Swords, which is why I'm talking about it, and it's in the environment. You can't see as much on this one. We just see the tiniest hint here of the blood. But the blood spilled can be, it's a metaphor for like bad blood or words. And when they're there and they're out there, it's kind of like, if I got a little cut on my finger here. There are certain cuts that heal. There are other cuts that leave, a scar. I have one that's here on my hand from like when I was a kid. I don't think the camera will show it, but there's this little tiny scar. Anyway, little tiny scar there. And I actually remember I was moving a table, helping out with something at school, and it's still there all these years later. And we all have other scars like that are bigger than that. But so sometimes there's an emotional or a spiritual scar that steps in, and that takes longer to heal. And so you can avoid it. The good news is you can avoid it because you tuned in. So if you're tired, get some rest. If you're tired and cranky and somebody calls you and you can't talk, don't hang up. Take a pause, talk to them a little bit and say, how about we reschedule this for tomorrow? It's important. I do want to talk to you. So always better to find a way to communicate. Don't be too critical of yourself or others. So justice and judgment are sisters, basically, in tarot, just like the 5 and the 7 of swords are. Today, the sisters are also the 4 of swords and the 10 of swords because they help each other. Sisters, brothers, cousins, whatever you want to call them. But they're related. So what I want you to do right now, this is important. If you can see things from the highest possible good and constructively so, keep things constructive. Never get to a point where you're saying something that's just critical. Put something with that can be helpful. And if you don't have something nice to say, and if what you have to say won't help, don't say it. And if someone else is in that sort of energy, take a pause and say, I think we've gone down a different road here. This isn't really productive now. I hear what you're saying. I hear that you're frustrated, but it's not helpful. We don't always have the mental space and the words to kind of bring that out, but maybe by listening to this, I can save you from going through stuff that I've gone through before, and that's important. So ask the question, ask the deeper question. Say, why are you saying that? Where did this come from? Are you okay? Why are you treating me like this? Go to the source rather than what they just said, because what they just said was probably more on the surface. Now, this is just taking action, and this is also speaking up. So if there's something that you need, this is raising your hand and saying, hey, teacher, I need this, or hey, partner, I need this, or hey, family member, what's this about? So there's nothing wrong with saying, I need this, or I like this, or I don't like this. There's no problem with editing. By the way, this is a really good card for editing, constructing, and revising things. Very good for a retrograde period. So anytime you kind of need to go back and revisit things, these two cards are perfectly compatible with that. So focus on the constructive and sort of beneficial elements, building up rather than breaking down. Okay? I think that's so vital and so important. All right. You have another boss card coming through in the near future. So this is probably more like 3 or 4 weeks out from when you watch this forecast. We have the Emperor card. So this is you taking power, stepping into the spotlight. I like that this Emperor also carries with him that sort of crystal ball that we would normally see in the 2 of Wands. So I want you to keep in your mind what it is you're trying to do. And what you can do is you kind of look at conversations, opportunities, etc. is think, does this move the needle forward, or is it just me retreading old ground? Because when we look at this center card, the 8 of Cups, that is a card sometimes of just doing the same thing again and again. So try to make sure that if you're doing a cycle or something in your life, and I'm saying cycles, this is whatever you're spending your time doing, make sure that this is somehow bringing things into a better place, that you're seeing progress. Okay? All right. The other thing with this card is, for some of you, again, for my entrepreneurs out there, this is really an auspicious card. It's just showing that you're going to be able to make some great progress. Everybody right now, if you step up a little bit, you have this ability to get things in a great place, and people see a leadership part of you that's always been there. You are like that Sphinx. You're multiple things. You're your family, you're your environment, your experience, you're the soul. You're bringing it all together today, and you can stand strong and tall just like that creature did. All right, we actually have really good cards. This is the only money card. Yeah. Okay, so I'm happy that it's a knight. So in your soul space, just to show you again where this came from. We're right here looking at the soul. So in your soul space, what we have here is the Son of Pentacles or the Knight of Pentacles. This is about moving forward, doing the right thing. It's really interesting on this deck. We'll see in the Pentacle suit, we see varying states of gardening. I think the Page may just be, a farm where there's nothing growing. And this one, we see the fruitful energy that I would expect with a Knight. A Knight also brings things to a better space. You don't, there's like a code of conduct if you're a Knight. You always want things to feel and be a little bit better than they would be before you stepped in. So do the right thing. And if you need to make some action happen, you're the spark. So talking about the different elements, that fiery energy is going to come through for you quite a bit, actually, because that's the way people are showing, or that's the way you're showing up to others, and that makes sense for you. So definitely lean into that. But remember, you're not just that fiery energy. You can also be sensitive like water. You got a lot of swords. You can also be very cognitive and communicative. And then the wands came through quite a bit for you to understand who you are. So you're all of these things, but the action is going to bring about the abundance. So pick up the phone, go there. You might be the go-between. You might be the mediator. You might be that middle manager, but you're going to be able to do a lot in the middle. That sometimes is where a lot of the action and the power happens. People at the top sometimes are just a rubber stamp. Sometimes people in the lower ranks are just waiting for guidance. You might be the one. You don't have to be at the top. And even if you're in a lower rank, it doesn't mean that you can't make an effect. You have power this month. That's basically what this says. So it's just a matter of how you're going to do it. You're either going to lift yourself up or someone else up, which I like. Okay, this is the tricky card, my friends. So again, this card came through in the environment. The environment card is a reminder for us to be mindful of things that are going on with people that we love around us. And also it could be somehow people perceive us with this energy. So with the 10 of Swords, it's basically saying, and it's reversed. So it's an avoidable argument or an avoidable sort of pitfall. Things are not as bad as they seem. And once you understand what's going on, you can transform this energy. We have this lovely little butterfly in the corner, which is saying, rise above, be the bigger person. You may have to say some things that are difficult, but try not to say things that are cruel. Easier said than done. Sometimes people just bring out the worst, I know it. But I also think that sometimes there's this great ability to recover and to rebuild. So this is a chance to do that. Inner healing is going to be important for many of you. The 10 of Swords could just be your body saying, enough is enough. So you have aches and pains. It could be mental fatigue or mental stress, and you need to take a sick day. You need to take a day off. And because we are in the, going on the third year now of this global pandemic, one thing that we're seeing is that we can't afford to do what we used to do. I think back to maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, or almost 7 years ago when I used to be doing a corporate job, they would expect you to come in sick sometimes. I had a couple bosses that were cool and didn't want that, but sometimes people would be like, are you really sick? You better bring a doctor's note. You had to do all of this stuff. Like it was very, they didn't trust you. Nowadays, people would trust you. but that's the crazy thing is people expect you to burn yourself out. So don't burn yourself out. Long story short, take care of yourself. If you're feeling any chronic fatigue or pain, this particular card rules that. So make sure it doesn't have to just be in the back. Like I said, the 10 of Swords can be emotional pain. It can be mental pain, all of that, plus body pain. But whatever the pain is coming from, you've got to go to the source and deal with it. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead now and look at hopes, fears, and opportunities. We have the Hierophant, and she is in reverse in this particular card. So some of you are going to move around the Gatekeeper. That is just like the Sphinx card in many ways, because it is someone who holds the keys, see the keys there, holds the keys to knowledge, and they say that it's like my way or the highway. You realize that there isn't just one way to make things happen, okay? And I think that when you can find a way to help other people see, sometimes you have to show it, not just tell it. So if you can show how something's working, through a prototype, through best practice, through research, through pointing a finger and saying, look, it's right over there and it's just fine. You may have to show this person because they're more traditional. This is a conservative viewpoint. This is anything but conservative. This is very innovative. So the key to your success this month is actually innovation. The challenge to your success this month is how do you work through the person that is kind of like pushing away that innovation, is thinking, I don't know if I can do that, right? So that's going to be ever so important for you. I see some folks mentioning like, how do you know if I'm live? By the way, there's a link to my live schedule. So as you're looking at this Hierophant in reverse, I really want you to focus on thinking, all right, I know that there's a better way. How can I convey this, however? How can I show them that this can work? And maybe you can get some other people behind you. Like I said, you don't have to do all of this alone. You may just have to kind of lead the initial charge or interest in it, okay? And finally, we have the Magician, a very auspicious way for you to take a look at what you can make a difference with this month. The Magician card is, I don't know why I didn't think this, but now it makes sense. I'm like, I saw all the elements. The Magician card has all 4 elements. So thank you, cards, for bringing it into focus. So basically, when they were showing me in spirit, earth, air, water, fire, all of that, they were showing me the Magician. I'll remember that in the future. One thing that's interesting as an intuitive, I'm constantly expanding on my own symbols. So yeah, we have like 78 cards here in a tarot deck, but once you start to develop your own connection to dreams and to your guides and all of that, you'll get symbols, but you have to kind of like decode them. So now I know what that means if I'm shown. Basically, I was at the Magician's altar. A traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card, you would see as above, so below, showing that you are the conduit between heaven and earth, you, a mortal being. You have that connection if you're willing to kind of step into it. And then at the Magician's table is a cup, a sword, a wand, and a pentacle. And basically you can take all of those things and build. So it's construction time. This is construction time if you're ready, Leo. So the question for you is, what do you want to build? And the challenge for you, particularly with the Magician card in reverse, is, can I stay focused? Am I distracted? Have I pulled myself into too many different directions? Because if you do that, then what happens is you are less effective at working that magic. But listen to this part. You are capable. You are magic. You are magical, I should say, and you are the Magician. So it's just about believing in yourself and believing that you can do what you need to do and not getting distracted on that. You do that, you've got a great month ahead, okay? Very good card to kind of like end the Celtic Cross with. We're going to move along now to the expanded forecast. The expanded forecast includes health, wealth, love, and destiny, and it's a way for us to take a look at all of the cards we just talked about and dig a little bit deeper, okay? And again, for all of you that want some more information, I'm seeing some questions in chat. A great way to know when I do all of my live readings is to go to social media. And of course, if you haven't already liked and subscribed here, do that. I've already done everything up to this sign for February. So you can check out my website for more information. Again, the whole schedule's here. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the expanded forecast. We're going to begin with the health card. Uriel is one of the angels that I work with regularly, so I'm heartened to see this particular card come through. And the message here says, thank you, Uriel, for helping me to share my light with the world. Lovely energy of fire on this particular card. One thing that I felt in the presence of Uriel is it's a bold archangel. It always says the truth, even if it's difficult for you to hear. So the fact that this is coming through in health is saying, get real with what you need to deal with in your life to be healthier and to be happier. Uriel is the angel that came to me once to remind me to start prayers and everything that I do with gratitude, because it would open my heart. But Uriel said, you need to say thank you, or you could say thank you more. And I said, point taken. So Uriel's not afraid to speak up, and I love that. And I use the word it with archangels because there really is no gender. Some of them express themselves more masculine or feminine, but particularly with Uriel, it can be either. So it's more of an it, just like I believe the divine energy that we call God can be an it, because it would have to encompass everything. So anyway, Archangel Uriel is coming through. It's helping you. But one of the things it really wants you to do is focus on the light that I was talking about is also insight. So when it comes to matters of health this month, definitely take time to educate yourself. And also, if you've been held back, by someone in your life that doesn't allow you to really express yourself. This card is making sure that you find your voice, okay? And that you shine as brightly as you can. You can be authentic, you can be yourself. People don't always know what to do with that, but this is your time to shine, okay? So let's talk a little bit deeper, or go a little bit deeper into the health cards as well, and see if there's some additional messages for you in regards to your health. So give me a second here. All right, as I'm looking at everything on the table here, the main thing that I'm paying attention to for health this month for all of you would be the environmental stresses that are definitely a part of the Ten of Swords. So I think many of you are dealing with work stress or family stress. Could also just be where you're living or studying. Could be a little bit like your dorm or your apartment or your house. Maybe it's the neighborhood, something around you. There's either noise or activity. So do what you can to either deal with your inner or external stress, and that's going to be amazingly important to your general success and happiness and health. And then if there's any pain in your body, standard disclaimers apply always when I look at health. Talk to a doctor. This is usually not something that you would want to just brush away. It may not be something to worry about, but I think that you should look into it. And the important thing with this is that you want to stop it before it gets any worse, and that's the main thing. It is avoidable, whether it's pain in the body or a conversation that goes awry. If you act upon it, again, we see the Knight right underneath this. If you act upon it, then you're going to be pleasantly surprised with what can happen, okay? The other thing as we're looking here at the side is the Four of Swords. Four of Swords reversed, of course, being someone who needs more rest, needs more sleep, who's too busy for their own good, and that's manifesting what's going on in the environment, so that's going to be really important to you. Thankfully, we have a Magician card here, which shows that when you take action, when you focus, things start to go in a really great position. So I think that's going to be, just your action and your attention alone is going to be what can solve all of this. You may need to get a second opinion or a different point of view with respect to your health. I think there's a lot of great stuff coming through cognitively here with the King of Wands, the Emperor, and the Ace of Swords. It's just a matter of making sure that you can focus. Focus is the other thing that's coming on. So if you're distracted or have ADHD, then this is really saying, all right, I need to talk to someone. I need to see if this is just environmental stress or if there's something a little bit deeper that's going on. All right, let's take a look at what's going on with respect to your wealth and career. So with wealth and career, we have Radha here coming through, Soul Flame, rediscover a lost part of yourself, experience relationship harmony and healing. Okay, so that's really a great card to come through with wealth. When we're looking at experiencing relationship harmony and healing, there may be a chance for you to go back and fix or address a problem in a work relationship. So if you don't get along with your boss, for instance, this could be something where you have a chance to go in there and say, all right, I know what we need to do, or you can kind of take the lead on that one. Also, I love this piece, rediscover a lost part of yourself. So sometimes when we go to school, we get older, we go to work, we pick a path that's not maybe our ideal path, but it's the one that was available to us at the time. And sometimes we get stuck in that path, or we've learned everything that we need to learn about a particular walk of life. And it's sort of like, I think I'm ready for something else. It's perfectly okay. The Soul Flame energy with the Radha card is also reminding you that there could be someone in your life that kind of inspires you. And if you look at your love relationships, this is a lot easier sometimes. Think of your first crush, or think of that sort of awakening when you were a kid, where maybe before you didn't worry that much about dating, and then all of a sudden you met someone and you thought, okay, well, if I could date someone like that, maybe I'm interested in dating. So we all have that awakening, whether it's a crush or we see the ideal partner. It's just sort of like a light bulb moment. So some of you, with respect to work, could be finding a teacher, a mentor, or a source of inspiration. You could be reading a book, you could be seeing a movie. There could just be something in your life that lights up that sort of inner spark. And Radha is coming through to say, that's a blessing. Listen to that. Do something really cool with that, okay? Looking at the general messages around this, some other things that I'd like to talk about here with respect to work, money, and career. First of all, I like that we have the Knight card here. The Knight of Pentacles, which is really showing the ability for others to be interested in what you have to offer. This is auspicious. This is how people see you. The thing that could get in the way of your sort of growth is communication style. If you're too direct, too familiar, or if you take the bait, and we've all done that at some point, where someone says something and you think, am I going to say it? Yes, I'm going to say it. It ends up kind of like blowing up in your face. So be careful with communication. Get someone there who maybe can help soften the blow. Even if the other person doesn't want an intermediary, there may need to be one. The other thing that I see this month, like I already talked a lot about independent businesses, or like those of you that are entrepreneurs. I see some good energy here. You just need to give people like a reason to keep coming back. So there's some marketing opportunities. For those of you that applied for a job and it didn't work, and there's another position open or another opportunity in the same place, this is a second chance. They're going to see you differently this time. So I like that quite a bit. Rest is going to be essential to success. Without it, you're going to lack focus. So please get some sleep. And again, gatekeepers, just remembering here that you hold the power too. And this person may not be the only way to get something done, but you should try to work with them if you can, or show them a different way, open their mind rather than just sort of bulldozing past them. Ultimately, I love the top cards here. This is your head, what's going on in your head, the crowning card. This is what you can do. And so basically with that Magician card, you've definitely got the ability this month to make some magic happen. And I hope you allow yourself to do that. All right. The last thing that I want to talk about is just the overall accepting like whatever challenge or whatever journey is in front of you and thinking like, all right, if this is really my new path, I'm going to go all in. Justice is saying like, when are you going to decide? Are you ready to decide? Why haven't you decided? So she's here to nudge you just a little bit right now. Okay. Let's move on to, I know, a part of the reading that a lot of people enjoy, love and relationships. So you got two cards. I'm going to read the card that's on top first. So we have Heart of Source, all-encompassing love, unconditional acceptance, and serenity. So let's just take them apart one piece at a time here. All-encompassing love. So this is really just putting yourself all into something. Not just like 50%, but saying, I'm ready to go in 100%. Unconditional acceptance. If you're doing something, and again, you're worried about what other people think, you don't kind of have time to do that anymore right now. I think that you have to, I don't just think, I know that. I know that you have to fully accept and embrace what it is that you want in order to get it and accept yourself. We're looking at relationships here. So the all-encompassing love is saying, love yourself, love others, love what you're doing. Unconditionally accept yourself as well. And then choose the path that brings about serenity and happiness. If someone in your life is incapable of that all-encompassing love and the unconditional acceptance, basically it's the devil energy, right? Because that's conditional, that's controlling. And you would not have serenity with that. So we're looking at a controlling energy that you're going to snip out by being that yourself. So you are the source of your own love. You don't need to find it with someone else. They're there to help you, but they are not the end-all be-all. And then we have Venusian Galactic Council here, star being guides, answer the call, time to shine. Well, I kind of said that in what I was talking about here. And we also have shine your light as well. And I saw the spotlight and I saw that it was time for you to really step up. So Venus, of course, ruling love here. You may have this sort of inner calling. The dance partner that I saw in my channeled portion of the reading is either going to dance with you or you're going to find another partner. So for some of you, there's this chance to deepen or release. And that's what we're going to look at now. I like to look at 3 different types of love situation. Those in love, those looking for love, those single and happy. Love, of course, can also be applied to just general relationships. But so if there's just someone that you spend a lot of time and energy thinking about, you're not looking into love, but there is someone occupying space, you can also use the looking or in love portion for that as well. All right, so let me just look at the table as we're talking about this here. So for those of you in an existing relationship, the central cards are about, for some of you, taking a little bit of time off. So if it is less of a love relationship and it's more business or friendship. This is saying, hey, I'm going to go take a trip, or I need some time, or I'm going to spend more time doing this. I'll come back afterwards. But for some of you, there's a little bit of self-discovery that needs to happen. In an existing relationship, love relationship, this could be saying, I need to do this for myself. Something on your own. It doesn't mean that you're going to separate. You might need to take a class. You might need to go talk to someone. You're going to need a little bit of time alone, though. Doesn't mean that the complete separation, but a self-oriented, self-centered task in order to expand. Power dynamics, definitely a big part of this. We have 2 power cards here, so I think that we have 2 evenly matched individuals. I see the King of Wands and the Emperor as pretty much evens, even though this is in the major arcana. This could possibly be you, which is saying you're stepping into a more powerful sort of energy than you felt before. And I think that that is auspicious, so that's good. The difficult thing for many of you, again, is fatigue or frustration or impatience that leads to this disagreement that's coming up here with the 10 of Swords. So please try to avoid communication issues. Try to avoid thinking it's my way or the highway. Work on things together. Make the first step, offer the olive branch and see what happens. And then some good things can happen. Thankfully, your outcome card is pretty good. Your near future card is pretty good. You do have a potential pitfall here with this, and that could create more of a lasting block. So just be mindful of that. Be careful there. Okay? And it is about the critical nature of communication quite a bit. We do keep getting themes of acceptance. It's right here in the Ganesha card. It's also here when we look at Heart of the Source, where it's unconditional acceptance. So do you accept yourself? Do you accept other people? Are you judging them? All of that's going to be important. For those of you that are looking for love this month, well, the good news for you is I feel like it's possible. This could come through a trip, through some sort of a kind of organic experience, because this would be you out and about. And if you're open-minded, which is what we see with this card when it's on the side, then you're bringing in someone really strong. What I see here, though, is an interesting sort of, it's not necessarily, it's experience more than age. I think for some of you, there could be a little bit more life experience between you or your partner, and there could be a little bit more maturity. It's a little bit of a maturity gap, but it could just be sort of general experience. So this could sometimes lead to disagreements as well. Health and well-being is across the board. I don't care what you're doing with respect to partnerships, but you've got to take care of yourself for sure. Okay? And I think that the other thing for many of you is to remember to just, you can't change people 100%. And I would say with the Hierophant card, knowing what you can change, if you can change it, that's going to be really, really important. And at a certain age, some people, it's kind of like an old dog. They can only learn so many new tricks. So know what you're getting into before you get upset or argue with someone, because sometimes you already know what's in store. So this is for those of you looking for love. If you see signs at the beginning that there might be problems, listen to that, okay? Ultimately, the main thing for everybody this month is power and progress. So make sure that wherever you're at, that's not getting in the way of it. Let's wrap up with those of you that are looking for love or some sort of a relationship opportunity. Single and happy, because we just did that. If you're single and happy, good for you. I actually feel like it's a better time to be single and happy, because right now there's some big opportunities that you're weighing out. And by the way, for those of you that might be in a relationship, this could also be showing that in the past, you've already been through something big, and it's sort of like, are we going to do this again? So for those of you that maybe are single and happy, it might be because you're freshly out of a divorce or separation, you've lost your partner, or you're just focusing on personal development. If you're doing that, good. That's the source of it this month, is personal development. And you're going to be surprised. The sky's the limit, which is to say that there really aren't limits right now. Just keep pushing yourself. And I see a lot of growth. I don't necessarily see a lot of people. So it's actually a good time to be focusing a little bit more on yourself. Okay? There you go. All right, let's take a look now at what's going on in your Destiny card. Destiny is a way to basically make sure that you're on that right path, that you're projecting in the right direction. So we have the obstacles card here with Ganesha, and Ganesha also is here with acceptance. So accepting yourself is going to be part of the way of making sure that there aren't obstacles. And then we also have just Ganesha coming through saying, I'm going to remove them for you. Okay? So if there's a block, it's a temporary block. The acceptance and the understanding of why it came about is going to just happen naturally this month for you. So I feel really good. I feel like that Sphinx or that gatekeeper, temporary. Remember what we talked about earlier, asking the right questions, so pivotal, so key. And thank you. These are new glasses. I saw a question. I'm glad you like them. All right, so let's go ahead now and look at the big idea. What is the big idea, you ask? The big idea is one card that I pull to kind of help you connect with what you need to be focusing on. We kind of had a little bit of the big idea a few moments ago when we were looking at unconditional love and acceptance and discovering a lost part of yourself. But also, actually, I think the big idea was the magician. That you could do anything that you put your mind to. But let's see if there's a little bit of an addition to that. So really, connecting it with the magician card, what can you do to truly be unstoppable? What can you do to get out of your way? What's the big idea with respect to that magician card? Interesting. All right, so we have the Hermit card in reverse. So the Hermit card in reverse is saying, for many of you, you've learned everything that you need to learn with respect to your sort of present situation. And sometimes we want to hide behind things like, okay, I need more time, I need more research, I need more information, whatever. But you may actually have everything that you need with this card. And ultimately, the Hermit holds the star and becomes the star, gives way to it. You already have someone around you. We see that little firefly or little whatever bee that's kind of attracted to that. You already have people that see your luminosity rather. I love how bright this card is too. A lot of times we see a lot of darkness in it, but it feels to me like she's already stepping into her light. So the reversal of this is saying, I've learned what I need to learn. It's comfortable to be where I'm at, but I don't need to be here anymore, right? For those of you that might have like multiple degrees and want to go back to school, ask yourself why you're getting the next degree. For those of you that are staying in a job and have saved up the requisite amount of money, and that was the original goal, why are you still there? For those of you that are in a relationship that has run its course, why are you staying there? There's something with stagnation. You've learned everything, you've grown, that inner growth is there, the inner knowledge is there. The Justice card from earlier is saying just trust it, because the other path is right there. So use your inner knowledge, show and shine and sort of be who you are, and good things await, okay? All right, let's move along now to the next portion, which is going to be blessings and blocks. So the blessings and blocks are two things that we can embrace and maybe avoid to kind of make sure that we're all right. All right, so we'll start with the blessing card. The blessing card is going to allow you to maximize things, much in the way that this big idea card helped a little bit. So we'll take a look now at your blessing card. The blessing card this month is being outspoken and taking swift action. So, a lot of times the King and Queen of Swords will get a bad rap because we can see them as being like too bold, but it's not bad if it's sort of like concise. So because it's in the blessing space, we're going to read the reversal as the most beneficial that it could possibly be. So here's how we would read King of Swords reversed as a blessing. Somebody in your life is looking for a clear and clean cut answer. They just want something definitive, a yes or a no. And then if they need a little bit more information that you could back it up. Yes, because this, and this. Thank goodness. I'm glad you figured that out. That's great. No, we need to do this first. So be concise, authoritative, not in a sort of like ruling with that sort of fist, but just sort of like, this is what we're going to do. And I can feel a little like tinge in my solar plexus. So for some of you, that's putting you maybe in an area of discomfort or not being at ease. So work on that a little bit because I can feel it. So things that you can do in exercise that will help you. Sit-ups, yoga, Pilates. You can do breath of fire. You can really work on your posture and kind of activating that core area. Really feel the strength in the stomach. That's going to be important. But anyway, work on saying what you need to say and feeling it. Also, we've talked about this before, but the intonation versus, let's talk about like different ways that you can say yes. So someone says, do you want to do it? And you're like, yeah, I guess. That's not very convincing. Or yeah, that's not very convincing. Yes, better. Or yes. Like really just put it in there. Yes, absolutely. Let's do it. That is someone who you know is there. But the other versions, same thing with no. I don't know. Maybe not. Or I think we could do it, but maybe there's like, don't do all of the sort of all over the place. It's kind of like ping-ponging back and forth. So yes or no and why. That's the King of Swords reversed. Concise, no sort of doubt, no sort of dilly-dallying around with it, just saying it and getting it out there. If you do that, you're in a good place. This card tells me you already know what to do, how to do it, and it's just a matter of activating that. All right, let's move along to the block. Some of you, it's a blessing in disguise, my friends here, but the World card in reverse is fear of the overarching change and the necessary shifts that are going to happen if you do what you need to do. Some of you are just averse to the change. For some of you also, there could be so much going on in your life that you're adjusting to things. The dust is settling. So when the dust is settling, we don't see clearly. So take some time to meditate and get your head on straight. And sometimes we can't control the changes that happen around us. This happens a lot when someone dies. You are thrown into a new sort of role and you have to deal with stuff. You have to pick up the pieces. This happens when someone gets sick too. Happens when you lose a job, when there's an unexpected bill or even material loss. It's sort of like, oh my gosh, now I've got to deal with this on top of everything else. But you're going to be okay. There's bigger and better things to come. The world is opening up a new beginning here. So this moment in time feels like crazy, but the world brings expansion. It never limits, even in reverse. So better, bigger, more opportunistic things are on the horizon once the dust settles, once you get past this moment. Really good card for those of you that are looking for a breakout or breakthrough moment when we're looking at business or being seen or getting a job. So this is saying the end is in sight. This is the end of the major arcana. After this is the Fool. It's a reset. So the only thing that's kind of missing here, we got Justice. We should have had Judgment as well. And that would have, I would have preferred Judgment because it would show me you're a little bit closer. But it feels like you just have to skip past that one and do what you know you need to do. Okay? Let's give you a chance to look at stuff. Since I chose the deck today, I'm going to give you a chance to do a viewer's choice poll. Let me just grab my keyboard. And in this moment in time, I'm going to give all of you a chance to vote. And while you're doing that, I'll do a reader's choice in just a moment. So let me just take a look over here. Again, for anybody that's looking at this on a computer or a mobile device, you should be able to do it. If it's a TV console or you're looking at it later, you won't be able to. And I only put the poll up for a limited amount of time. So if you join later, you won't see it. All right, so viewer's choice. And we're going to take a look at some of the themes this month that are really important. So give me a second here. All right, so as I'm looking at the cards, I think that one of the key things that should be taken into consideration is the energy around the Magician, how to stay focused. So how to stay focused and manifest. The other thing that I'd like to take a look at is doing what I need to do, because we have Justice in the deep past. So doing what you need to do. The other thing is, as I'm looking at the recovering a lost part of yourself, so maybe picking up the pieces, because that Eight of Cups can be second chances. So I'm going to do this, picking up the pieces / second chances. Okay, I can only do chance, but you know what I'm saying. All right, so I'm throwing out the viewer's choice poll for you to take a look at. While you are voting on that, I'm going to take a moment here and see what I want to look at. So I think one thing that I'm curious about is that Hermit card that we just took a look at a few moments ago. I want to know what we can do to help you really have the breakout or breakthrough moment, because I don't think I put that there. No, I didn't. So let's take a look at the breakthrough moment. How to get out of the Hermit, basically, is going to be the reader's choice. My choice. All right, so let's see what's going on. So this is reader's choice. And again, I was looking at coming out of the Hermit, stepping into your power. So for this one, we have the Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups is a reminder for you to basically decide in this moment, like, do I want to lean on someone else? Can I ask for some help? I really do think that for many of you, partnership can bring in that sense of support that you've been looking for. You don't have to do this all alone. With anything that comes into your life, however, there should be this understanding that you deserve more than you've gotten before, and you should be open to receiving the best possible opportunity, the best possible offer. When this is reversed, it can be a people-pleasing card. So you no longer have to be the one that makes everything okay, that makes everybody happy. This is your moment to be an equal partner. You've earned this space. You're sharing the stage. I saw that in my meditation and my dreams actually last night too. So see yourself as that equal partner dancing. Know that there's someone out there right now that's ready to really invite you in, and I think that's going to be important, okay? So one other thing is that there might be an offer on the table. Someone's interested. Remember to keep an open eye and an open mind when that happens, okay? So I'm going to end the poll now here and see what final option there won. Let's see here. So this is now we're going to move along to the viewer's choice. By 52%, we have how to stay focused and manifest. That's a great question that you asked. So thank you to everybody that voted. So let's take a look at that. So just as a reminder for folks that are just joining or wondering what that means, so we wanted to take a look at the magician energy and really get into the power or the magic of it. Reversed, it can sometimes be something that shows that your headspace is focusing on something that it shouldn't. So let's see. Okay, so definitely it's about following your heart. And letting your passion bring you into the highest sort of energy. There could be someone in your life that could make you feel kind of like what you believe in, what you're excited about, may not have as much merit. There may be someone that you love who's very kind of like keen on making you do something from their perspective. The important thing here is that you feel it, heart and soul, that it really feels good, that it really feels like something that you want to be doing. There could also be a really great partnership if we look at these two cards together. I looked at the reader's choice to see how to get out of your shell, and now we actually see love, friendship, partnership, mentorship could actually be a really important piece to this. So if that person fits that mold and it feels exciting and they see you and they trust you and they kind of connect with that, then absolutely that's good. But the main thing with this is channeling creativity. So I want you to focus on trusting your heart, going with your heart, doing things that are creative. This applies to people that are also in medicine, science, practical arts, construction. What is it that you're passionate about? What kind of work are you passionate about? What kind of things you want to do? What kind of thumbprint do you want to leave on the world when you're off the planet? This is really about that kind of passion. It's not just about kissing someone. The Queen of Cups is much deeper than that energy. But if you're not connected to it, it manifests in your energy everywhere else. So there should be something in your life that brings you that joy, whether it's a hobby or your family or a side gig, that you're moonlighting with, or maybe you're studying for something new. Or if you're very fortunate, it's what you do every day. But find a piece of your life that feeds you and then let that part grow more and more and more. Because eventually that could be the main thing for you. That's the food, that's the source, that's the sort of essential piece here, okay? So trust your heart, follow the passion, be an open channel for that, and you'll be all right. Don't let your emotions get in the way. If you're afraid, obviously you want to be channeling the highest possible energies, but I think that's really important. Okay? All right. So just to kind of review what we've done and what we're going to do next. So far, we've gone through the channeled messages, the Celtic Cross and the expanded forecast, the big idea, blessings and blocks. We just did the viewers and readers choice. So that must mean that we're in the final portion, which it does. We're going to be doing the meditation, the sound bath here in just a moment. Before I get to either of those two things, for anybody that joined late, please take a moment and connect with me on social media. I did pin a comment earlier, so you can take a look at it there. I'd also love for you to subscribe if you've never done that, and share this channel, because I tend to do, as you can tell, slightly longer videos, and sometimes the algorithm doesn't pick that up. Let's change that. Hit a like button if you haven't yet, and subscribe if you've never subscribed at all, and then tell someone about this. I'd love for my messages to get out there to more people. I love connecting with all of you, but I love to connect with even more, so you can help me, and it's free, and both of those things don't obligate you to do anything or at all. So if you can do that, I'd love it. If you want to give back a little bit, you can also do it through SuperChats, SuperStickers, and memberships. Memberships are a way to give back. We see a bunch of folks here with the green text that are monthly members, so thank you so much. I do have Patreon as well, and again, that was hit there on the social one. It's like this little little icon right here. But it's Nicholas Ashbaugh on all of the different social media except Twitter. And finally, my website if you want more information. All right, let's get into the meditation. Now, for the meditation, it's going to be important for us to really focus on acceptance, because Lord Ganesha came through a couple of times here with the very important message of accepting yourself. And that, because Ganesha came through twice, is going to be the key for us to make sure that you're not blocked. So we're going to take 2 minutes here to meditate and release fear and release stuff that maybe happened when you were a kid or from your family or whatever it is that's kind of shut you down. We're going to open up the heart a little bit and allow for the abundance that wants to come in, okay? So before I get started, I'm going to give you a chance to vote on which instrument you'd like me to play. So let me do that, and then we'll get into that, okay? So let's see here. The next piece that I want to look at is the, give me 1 second here. So you can, which instrument? You can look at me on a crystal pyramid, or I'm not, listen to this, I should say, crystal pyramid or the singing bowl. All right, so there's no wrong choice. Either one is fine. Take a moment or two and enjoy. All right, so let's go ahead now and focus on the meditation. All right, so just close your eyes for a moment. As you take a nice deep breath, I want you to exhale and let go of any pressure, any sort of, anything that you've been holding on to that makes you feel a little bit frustrated, a little bit out of your sort of power, and just let it go. See yourself like the Queen of Cups sitting on the beach near the water, and I want you to listen to the sound of the ocean, the sound of the water behind you. Each wave is consistent. It comes in whether you're ready or not. It moves the energy. It moves things that need to come in and out of the shore. There's a consistency, a predictability, and a sort of calming constance to that sort of energy. So I want you to feel like you have that same consistency, that things can be constant in your life too. With each breath, breathe in the power and the energy of the ocean. With each exhale, release that which you don't need back to the ocean, allowing yourself to simply be a channel, fluid, just like the sort of water itself. Things move through you. They don't get blocked in you. And as you continue to breathe, you can actually put your feet in the ocean a little bit and feel the energy of the waves moving back and forth. Imagine that in front of you, you see someone or something that at one point in your life created a block, created this feeling that this is a limit, this isn't right, this is less than, you are less than. I want you to see this person now through a different set of eyes, through the divine eyes that you have, through the sort of higher energy of the universe. And I want you to see their point of view, their flaws, and understand that it was just one person, one moment in time. You are not defined by one person's words, one person's thoughts. If your mom, if your dad, if your teacher, if your friend, if anyone in your life, even yourself, had a moment where you thought you weren't good enough, prove them wrong. Prove your potential. In this moment, feel the power of the ocean surge behind you and move through you. And I want you to see yourself as big as a titan, as big as a god, this sort of almost like Poseidon. You're in the sea, you control the sea, you control the energy. And imagine now that your waves are going to crash down on that energy from the past. They're going to take the memory and just dissolve it. And what's left now is this feeling of power, potential, and that you are now moving, not stuck. And as the heart continues to open, you can feel the ocean flow through it. You get new ideas, you get new potential, and you are no longer stuck. So we're using water today to really clear things out. Keep breathing using the energy of air. You already have fire, so you don't have to worry about that. And then think about what you want to do next. We'll use the wands as we meditate here. So I'm going to play the crystal pyramid for a couple of moments, and then I'll answer your final question afterwards. I want you to continue breathing as we're doing this and to remind yourself that you are strong, you are powerful, you are capable, you are a creator of your own destiny. Continue to breathe. Continue to access this newfound power that we've discovered and unleashed today. And I want you to think about things in the future in a sort of possibility state, no longer feeling that there is a necessary block, knowing that you've always had the power and the potential to create the necessary change. And the image of Poseidon came through, which was being able to move that sort of flow of energy, that fluidity. So you're in the flow now, okay? Gently open your eyes if you have not done so already. And let's take a moment now to look at your final card for today, okay? So now we're going to look at the final card. The final card, of course, is a question that you've meditated on, something that you need to know. So just keep that as a silent question, and I will give you an answer to that silent question. Okay, so interesting answer to the final card. So the Two of Swords is showing that sometimes, conveniently or inconveniently, we don't get a clear answer to our question. What it means is you're going to have to step into the path that feels right for you, which is really in alignment with what we saw when I was looking at the viewer's choice question. How do you feel? You can't wait for someone else to tell you it's right or it's wrong. The thing with the Two of Swords is it is stagnation because of inaction and indecision. It's stagnation because we want something to be better than, but sometimes the universe wants us to decide. The Two of Swords can also be a nudge from the universe for you to listen to what's going on. So if it wasn't a yes, no, and if it wasn't a sort of decision path that you're on, what it's saying is, if you feel something's wrong, if you feel like you need to do something, if you're being guided, then you need to listen to the inner guidance, even if no one else is picking up on that frequency, especially if no one else is. You're the canary in that case, the canary in the mine. If you are overlooking something, hoping that it will change, the Two of Swords is saying it's not going to change. You're just ignoring it. So if someone's acting up like a child or a dog or someone in your life that's doing something that's not good, this is about making sure that you pay attention to that. So the Two of Swords is taking action, taking accountability to some degree, but also making sure that you're looking at what's going on and listening to what's going on. Even though it's the eyes, it can also be the ears. Are you listening? Are you looking? Are you aware? Are you distracted? If any of those things are happening, then get focused. Another common message with the Magician card, of course. And then for those of you in a decision, you probably need either a little bit more information, or you're going to have to go with what you've got and just course correct along the way. I'll pull a clarifying card because the Two of Swords is a really interesting one to get. So this will be final cards today, but let's just see what your clarification is. Yeah, you will be fine. You just have to take that necessary change or that necessary action. Hey, Paula, stick around. You can say hi here in a second. So for all of you, the Son of Wands or the King of Wands is, the Knight of Wands is really just about following through on what your sort of idea is or what your decision is. Okay, so you're going to be fine. You just have to take the action. You have to sort of set the tone. All right, that is today's reading. I'm going to move along and just say thank you to everyone in just a moment. Again, I just like to remind folks of the importance of doing this. So if you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do that. Again, you can join me on social media if you haven't already. And my website includes information like in this link on how to find out when I go live. Let's see. So today we're doing Leo. I'll be doing Virgo on Friday of this week, tomorrow, same time, same place. I'll be putting the link up right after I'm finished. This weekend, of course, we'll do the Sunday Collective. And then up next week, we'll be doing Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. So again, the whole schedule's on my website. If I have time at the end, I'll post it as well. But in the meantime, let's move on to one of my favorite parts, which is saying thank you. I want to say thanks to anybody who happened to just discover me for the first time. Please share and hit that like button so other people can do the same, and comment when this is on replay. That helps with engagement. Those things really help, by the way. Just putting a couple comments saying what you like to see, big help, and I definitely listen to those. If you're a long-time member and you've been supporting me for a while, thank you so much, or a long-time subscriber. And now for anybody who happened to give back today, I just want to say thank you and welcome. So give me a couple moments here, and I am going to welcome any new members that might have joined today or just in the past 12 to 24 hours. And then I will also say thanks to anybody that gave some super stickers or super chats. Sorry, it's my neighbor's dog outside. So for those of you that are someone who joined in the last day or so, I'm just going to say welcome. First things, I would like to welcome Venetia Tyson. Thanks for your 9 months of being a member and for rejoining recently. I'd like to also welcome Chasing the Sun Art, cool name. You rejoined after 3 months. Thank you. Me, welcome back. A lot of rejoiners here, actually. Carol Hale, Sue Bennett, Barbie, and I think that this is the last one because that happened on the weekend or on Monday. So Barbie DV Reiki, thank you so much. These are all the folks that have done it within the past couple of days. I appreciate you, and it's good to have many of you back because it was mostly folks rejoining. And now for anybody that gave a super sticker or super chat today, let me just say a quick thank you. And it's a short list, so we can get through this pretty quickly. First and foremost, thank you to Anita for kicking things off. I appreciate the $20. Benita Clark, thank you as well. AB, thank you. Let's see. I think it's Dre Vibes. Yeah, Dre Vibes 19, thank you. And Soul to Soul, again, thanks for the $20. I appreciate it. I hope all of you enjoyed today's reading. I think I said thank you to Soul too, but if I didn't, yes, thank you to Soul. Thank you so much for being here today. Welcome to Sean. I'm glad to have you as a channel member. One of the cool perks with channel membership is on the weekend you get a chance to vote for the topics that I cover. And when I hit another milestone, I usually do Q&A. Maybe I'll do one before then, but usually every time I hit another 1,000, I will do, like 100,000, I will do something, but it's going to take a while right now. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do it when I'm halfway through. Anyway, much love and light to everybody. Thank you to Maria for your help with moderation today. I hope everybody's having a good week, and I hope to see you on the weekend, and anybody that would like to show up again for tomorrow's reading as well. Until then, wish you all the best, and I'll see you soon. And Apollo came back, so we'll end with Apollo. Anybody want to say hi to everybody? I don't always include him at the beginning because today he was napping, and he said, "Dad, let me nap." So he just woke up, and he's ready for his walk, which we'll be doing in just a moment. So we'll close with Mr. Apollo here, wishing all of you lots of love and light, and thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Thanks again.